The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for January 7th, 2026. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. The clerk will call the roll. Please also indicate your presence on your roll call device.
Council President Borchard.
Present.
Alderman Bruno.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Linsky.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Alderman Steiner is appearing by phone. Alderman Paulnow.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
And Weber.
Here.
Thank you. Alderman Paulno, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brian, is your device working?
It says present. Oh, did I not do it?
Okay. I just want to make sure it was working.
We're good. Yeah, all set.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the council minutes and proceedings of the December 17th, 2025 regular session. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the approval of those minutes and proceedings? Any objection? Seeing none, those minutes and proceedings are approved. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. This is the opportunity for anyone to speak to the council on a topic they would like to. Please state your name and residential address if you would like to speak.
Good evening. Scott Becker, 1061 Green Acres Lane. I want to talk about the Arrowhead Park spending, which is on the docket tonight. After talking to a lot of residents in this community, I'm requesting that the consultant prepared cost estimate with detailed cost for everything from the activity building to the pavilions to the playgrounds be released. Right now, if you go to the city's website, Dean Crawford's version of Arrowhead Park can be found. And in fact, when I've talked to residents, they have said, I would never approve a park, a pool, a building, a school without knowing what it cost. So I think in the era of transparency and something that we all want to find out what exactly we're getting and what the cost is, that we should know that information. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. Is there anyone on council who would like to speak on public forum issues? Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to point out in regard to the Arrowhead project, when we had the consultant who did the, I guess, 50,000 foot view just recently to us, he didn't have costs at that time. He just had the plan and the 50,000 foot view, because I had asked him specifically, and there was no cost at that time. I don't believe there is yet, so.
That's correct. Is there anyone else on council who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I will close that item. There's nothing on the consent agenda. So moving on to reports of standing committees, the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of December 30th, 2025. Chairman Lendrum.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry about my voice. Reporting out from, we've got 4 action items tonight, reporting out from regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of December 30th, 2025. Minutes can always be found on the city website. Item number 1, committee recommends council approve the original Class B combination alcohol beverage retail license application for Glumph Events LLC doing business as the Ballroom at the Reserve, 116 South Commercial Street, Neenah. Matthew Glody, agent, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Council President Borchert. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device.
Alderman Steiner? Yes. Thank you.
That motion passes 9-0.
And item number 2, committee recommends council approve the agreement with Edgewater Resources to complete the design, engineering, and permitting requirements for the Kimberly Point Shoreline Stabilization Improvement Project in the amount of $168,800, including reimbursable expenses, using 2026 CIP budgeted funds, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Discussion on this item. Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just have to state that Edgewater Resources, their plan and the way they laid out is very excellent. They've done good work in the past. I just want to ask Director Kading, could you explain for this, because this is like the second in just recent years, the seawalls, the reconstruction, what is the trigger point where these become problematic to critical? You know, what was that tipping point? You know, I mean, because now we have the second one in so many years, and I know we're doing a lot of work. I mean, I don't know if you know exactly how to explain that. I'm just thinking, what precipitated this instead of just kicking it down the can, or kicking the can down the road?
Great question. I guess the main impetus was the fact that at Doty Park, the wood seawall had failed. There were gaps, there were holes, water was coming in, going out, and causing erosion behind the seawall. And we have definitely documented that. At Kimberly Point, our current boardwalk situation has been crushed at least twice since I've been with the city of Neenah. I know one other time prior to that. So everything underneath that boardwalk is gone, minus the wood structure. There is nothing else there to stabilize the shoreline. I don't believe that the shoreline has been touched in a very, very long time. When you walk out there, it's concrete curbing, it's concrete, and it's failing, and it's washing out and washing away. So that's really the impetus for the work.
So I was just wondering, it doesn't get inspected by the DNR or anything like that, does it? Like
They don't inspect it, but we do, and I don't feel comfortable. I did not feel comfortable. I know commission members had reviewed Doty Park on several occasions. In fact, they were a little disturbed that I was delaying the project a year when we had to do that. So just get everything in order.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Is there any additional discussion on this item? The motion on the floor is to approve the agreement with Edgewater Resources to complete the design, engineering, and permitting requirements for the Kimberly Point Shoreline Stabilization and Improvements Project in the amount of $168,800, utilizing 2026 CIP budgeted funds. Please cast your vote on your voting device.
Alderman Steiner? Yes. Thank you.
That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve the agreement with ECS to perform subsurface exploration and geotechnical engineering for the Lake Edge Embankment Stability Evaluation at Arrowhead Park in the amount of $53,168. Funding for the agreement to be provided from the Arrowhead Park carry-forward funds included in the 2025 capital improvement budgets. And obviously, Director Nyforth is here with if you have any questions, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Discussion. Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. As in the past, I have concerns about the spending as one item. The second thing, we don't have all the information to make decisions. I guess I would, if you're talking, and I asked the alderman, if you're talking to your neighbors and your constituents, if you said, okay, we're doing this project, but pertinent information such as legal information that's involved in this project, would you want your tax dollars going to that expenditure. I find it hard to believe that they would do that because people in, quote unquote, the real world, or people that don't do this every day, they want all the information, make sure we're doing the right choices, and that we do not have. That's been withheld from us, so I'll be voting against this. Thank you.
Alderman Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be supporting this. If I'm not, and maybe you can chime in on this, but there was monies budgeted and borrowed against back in, what was it, 2017, when the council at that time unanimously voted to support this type of a project. And this has been on the docket as part of our growth plan for many years, and now the opportunity has arisen. So from that standpoint, can you share anything that would say that you're holding back anything from us?
I don't believe I'm holding back anything. I'm providing the information, going through the correct committees and councils for the approvals needed to complete the work. These requirements are from the Department of Natural Resources. We cannot tell the Department of Natural Resources, no, we won't do geotechnical work, or no, we won't do a gas prevention action plan, as we'll discuss in the next item. I understand that sometimes from a public perception, when we are doing tasks that maybe are, let's just say, below ground or engineering and design, and the public isn't seeing things built above ground, they may think nothing is happening. But this project is very complex, and there's a lot of different approvals that we need because it is former lake bed, it's a landfill, and there's contamination on site. So we're working with no less than 5 different divisions within the Department of Natural Resources, and then also the federal government. So I am very happy that we'll be talking about this when we do our presentation, and hopefully a lot more information will be shared, and folks will understand where we're truly at with this project.
Thank you.
Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to be very clear. Director Nyforth's been excellent in the technical side of things. I'll be very specific. I'm talking the legal attorney. I guess I have to say it out loud. We were up to $83,000 in expenditures, and the city council has not had one legal update of what that.
Right, that's really not on the agenda related to this particular item.
Well, that's the whole
item
problem.
that we're discussing right now is for the exploration and geotechnical engineering for the lake edge embankment stability evaluation in the amount of $53,168. That's the item that is on the floor right now.
Okay, well, due respect, Mayor, part of that decision of why we needed this probably had legal implications. So that's why I mentioned it.
Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. And maybe even you, Mayor, might want to just give it just a really brief summary of like why, even if we didn't have any development on Arrowhead ever, we still need to fulfill the
Right.
DNR requirements. We don't have a choice.
Right. We own this property. The city of Neenah has ownership of this property. We have obligations to this property, many of which are mandated by the DNR. Regardless of what happens there, they will require certain things like positive drainage, things like a grading plan, a stormwater plan. This is property that we are in charge of, and we are in charge of maintaining. So when we have an order before us from the DNR that we are required to do something, it's, in my opinion, very important that we comply with that order.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device.
Thank you.
That motion passes 8-1.
Okay, and item number 4, and our last item tonight for this committee. Committee recommends council approve the agreement with Stantec for implementation of gas migration prevention action plan at Arrowhead Park in the amount of $32,350. Funding for the agreement to be provided from the Arrowhead Park carry forward funds included in the 2025 capital improvement budget, and I would so move.
I think we have a little need to fix that, sorry. There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum. And seconded by Alderman Bruno. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. This is basically, as I understand it from speaking with Director Nyforth, it's involving monitoring wells on this property, which, to my knowledge, being on the council 2012, 2018, and again from 2024 till current, we've never had to do, as I understand it. So this is a new level, and Director Nyforth said this maybe has driven, and who's to say, of the dirt that we put there from Douglas Park. I mean, that's a possibility. So our actions have reactions. So
Right.
to say this is just, all these things are just normal DNR requirements, and I've never read any of those DNR requirements to date, I don't think is exactly straightforward. And I think the public should know this is a reaction or potential reaction of what we're doing on that land. Thank you. And I'll be voting no on this as well.
Well, would you like to answer that, or would you like me to answer that?
I just want to clarify, these aren't monitoring wells?
No.
They're vents. So we do have monitoring wells already on site. I just want to make sure folks understand that. And this is something that, in my previous experience working with contaminated sites and even landfills, I'm not sure why they didn't require the city to do this a long time ago. So I can't speak for the DNR. All we can do is react to what they want us to do. They did indicate that they want to make sure, not because we're bringing fill on site, which they also asked us to do, but they just, as it says in the title, it's preventative, because they want to ensure any fill or development or anything that happens on site, that it's safe. So it isn't because there is an issue, it's just as a prevention plan that is very common in every closed landfill that you'll see, around the state.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what Director Nyforth stated, the reason additional fill has been brought to the site, and it has been brought to the site year after year after year to add to that cap, the reason for that being to create positive drainage that is required by the DNR. So this wasn't just a random, we're dumping dirt on here. It's to meet the requirements for positive drainage that the DNR has set, if that helps clarify that.
Can I just speak? I don't have the button. Can I?
Oh, it's not working?
No, not on mine.
Alderman Lendrum?
Thank you. I do remember a while back with the prior Community Development Director, Chris Hayes, he would tell us all the time that it's imperative to have a very positive working relationship with the DNR, because it could, if we refused to comply, and like with retention ponds and things like that, it could actually affect future approval from the DNR, and also DNR grants that we may get too. So, thank you. Shar.
Any additional discussion on this item? The motion on the floor is to recommend council approve the agreement with Stantec for implementation of gas migration prevention action plan at Arrowhead Park in the amount of $32,350. Funding to be coming from carry forwards included in the 2025 capital improvements budget. Please cast your vote on your voting device.
Thank you.
That motion passes 8-1.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of December 29th. There's one item, I'm not sure, Chairman Steiner, would you like to report out, or would you rather have Chairman Erickson? Vice Chairman Erickson.
I'm not sure how well you can hear me, so Vice Chairman Erickson wouldn't mind
Okay.
reporting, I would appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. I'll call on Vice Chairman Erickson then.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of December 29th, 2025. The first item on the agenda is the committee recommends council approve the 2026 intermunicipal agreement with the City of Appleton for the Dial-A-Ride cost sharing, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Discussion on this item. Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device.
I vote yes.
Thank you.
That motion passes 9-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. There is no Plan Commission meeting report, so moving on to the Committee on Rules meeting of December 15th. Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one item tonight. Committee of Rules meeting met on December 15th, 2025, and minutes can always be found on the city website. Item number 1, and the only item, committee recommends council approve the updated standing rules of the City of Neenah Common Council, and they are attached on the online agenda. If this passes tonight, the dates will obviously reflect that change, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Discussion on this item. Alderman Paulno.
First, I want to thank the committee for all the work and time it spent to this. We've come a long way on this. I have one question and one possible amendment. In regard to the organizational meeting, page 2 of 14, where it talks about mayoral appointments, I had asked previously, it doesn't have any mention of the council president appointments, which historically have been done. So I talked to Alderman Lindum. She said to ask Char would know that she's pretty confident that that was in here, and I couldn't find it, where it references the council president appointments that historically have been done.
And yeah, they always have been done, and they always are part of the agenda to have the council president's appointments.
But it's not
done
in the
yet,
rule.
But not in the rule book.
That's what I was wondering,
Yeah, I think it is in there, but
because I didn't see it, so I didn't know.
The committee appointments are actually in the ordinances. That's where we refer to for any kind of committee appointments. They're in the ordinances.
Okay, so what does that mean relative to the council? Because usually it's a separate thing in the, like, in an organizational meeting, it'll have the mayoral appointments, and we'll have the council president appointments. So how do we know
'Cause they're
what
already in the
is
ordinance.
what? I mean, do we have to, should that not be spelled out here somehow? At least that there are council president appointments? Because if your new alderman coming in, you wouldn't
Right.
know that.
Would it be redundant if it's already in the ordinance?
Okay, well then, the rules doesn't, I mean, does that mean we have to, if we don't even know to look in the ordinances, how would we know that the council president even has appointments? If you're a new alderman, if you got handed this book, would you know that a council president appoints, I don't know, 12, 15, or whatever it is? That's, because the mayoral
I think they
appointments.
would be reaching out to the new aldermen to talk to them about their preferences for committee appointments, for one. That's
Well,
always been, yeah.
I'm just saying, I mean, a rule book should, kind of be at least as much information about where to go. I mean, that's the whole point, I think, to have a, so is it not spelled out that council president has appointments?
I'm not certain if it is in the rules, but it is in the ordinances.
So if I made a motion to just add that in that section, would it be out of place to just add the council president appointments will be stated in the rules organization? Because, the mayoral appointments are in the ordinance as well, but it's listed. So if we had another, like mayoral, because it says mayoral appointments to the standing committees and special council committees shall be made and confirmed by a simple majority of the council. If we had something similar for the council president, it's just, I guess the question would be, that would not be out of line if it's in, so I guess I would make that motion.
Can I just call on Alderman Weber quickly as we're still discussing the original?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think it's actually would be a simple fix to say mayoral appointments and council president appointments are both, so add it to the number B and be done. I believe I was part of the committee. We probably misunderstood what Alderman Palmer was asking. That's what I think.
Okay.
So
So then that would require a motion. I
Sure,
take it.
go
So
ahead.
Why don't you go ahead? Do you want to do it?
Bill can make the motion.
I would make a motion to adjust organizational meeting section 4, item B, to read mayoral and council president appointments to the standing committees and special councils. I mean, I guess to read the same as it does, just add mayoral and council president appointments.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to add that particular wording to include council president appointments as well. Any discussion on that amendment? Seeing none. There was a motion by Alderman Paulno and seconded by Alderman Weber.
Yep. I lost it.
I will just wait for a second here.
Okay.
So go ahead and cast your vote on your voting device.
Alderman Steiner,
Oh, yes.
That motion passes 8-1. And now back to the original motion as amended. The motion on the floor is to approve the updated standing rules of the City of Neenah Common Council. Discussion, further discussion, Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. The one thing that I think is a major change to this, and I don't think is beneficial for the council, is the information. I understand the logic, meaning basically page 6, standing committees or even the special council committees, where it has all the information will be provided 24 hours prior to the start of the meeting. And that is definitely what the statute reads, minimum. That's the bare minimum, you know, and that's correct. But it's always been 48 hours. And this is information, you know, I looked, when I was first, you know, when I worked days more than I do now at a W-2 job, it was, you know, if it was only 24 hours, it's very, very difficult for an alderman. If you get information at late Friday afternoon for a Monday meeting, it's even hard. But if it's a meeting that's on Wednesday and you get it Tuesday and you have a 100-page report and you work till 5 o'clock, and then you have to go to that meeting at 5 o'clock, you have to read the materials and then contact staff if possible. It makes it very, very challenging. I don't see any reason to change it to 24 hours. We've had it for 48 hours for years, and I think that's a little bit friendlier for this council, and I think the council should want a little bit more time to contact staff. We've always been encouraged to contact staff, but 24 hours is a very tight window. So I guess my thinking is to change, it says it 2 or 3 times in here about 24 hours. I would prefer, and I would make a motion to change that to 48 hours, which I don't think is that cumbersome for staff. And I think it allows the council more opportunity to digest and more opportunity to contact staff for correct answers. So I don't know if,
Can I call, again, can I call on Alderman Lendrum to speak on the previous, the approval of the standing rules before we move on to the possibility of making a motion? Because I'd like to, she had already requested to speak at the same time. So I'll call on Alderman Lendrum.
Thank you. I just want to add that we will be revisiting this again in a year. And I may be able to preempt Alderman Paulno's concerns. We discussed that at length, and we are in alignment with the state statutes. The 24 hours was to be in alignment with state statutes. The ideal amount of time would be 48 hours or more. Sometimes it just can't be done. There might be last minute changes due to illnesses or something else. So that was part of our discussion, is the minimum 24 hours, but clearly staff has always known that if they can, that they would produce that, their agenda items 48 hours. So that's why we kept it at 24 to align it with state statutes.
Alderman Paulno?
The statute specifically says at least. It doesn't say 24 hours. It says at least 24 hours. That's what it specifically says. So that means we have discretion on that.
Would you like to make that
Yes.
motion?
I would make that motion and change that. Actually, it's 48 hours now. This would change 24. So my motion would be change those existing rules in all those verbiage places to 48 hours. So I don't know if I have to do the button or.
Well,
Second.
there's a motion and a second. And clarify again what you would be requesting.
Any place in there that referenced that statute where it says 24 hours prior to the start of the meeting via electronic posting on the city website, where it says 24 hours, basically to make that 48 hours. Any place where it says that in the rule book.
Discussion on that motion. Alderman Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, we've had this conversation, Bill, multiple times. You've sat in the meetings and we've hashed it through. We've heard from the city attorney, and the state law says 24 hours. The other issue that we need to remember is sometimes things are gonna happen within 48 hours, and this is doing disrespect to the department heads. As we have always done in the past, the soonest we can get these things out, the department heads will do that. But there's a reason why the law states 24 hours, and to take it to 48, I think is being extremely disrespectful and tying the hands of our department heads, so I will vote against this.
Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you. I'm in agreement with Alderman Ellis. The 48 hours is ideal. Things happen, and to rush it to, 24 hours to me aligned with state statute is ideal. They know, like I said before, they know 48 hours is optimal. But sometimes, like I said, it just cannot be done. And we do not want to rush agenda items through. So if they need to change that time frame, the department heads, I think it's exactly correct the way we have it now aligned with state statute. So I'll be voting against the amendment.
Alderman Bruno.
Can I?
Oh, sorry, Dan, I'll call on you next if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Just a question. Of course, I am new in the game, so I would like to have sometimes, yes, more time to be able to meet some departments, even if the last time you were able to answer my request and to meet me kind of right away, and thanks for that. Is it something that could be complicated to change? That's, I would say, I would ask the heads of department to know what is their opinion about that, because if we want it, is it something very complicated to do for them? My question would be, should we ask the head of department if it's an issue for them to do that, for everybody who could be involved in it before having a decision? I think the decision is not just ours, meaning the 24 or the 48. It can be a team decision.
Alderman Paulno?
I will.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I
Yeah,
call on?
that's quite okay. Yeah.
Alderman Steiner, I'm sorry.
No, no problem. So I guess I'm wondering if we're talking about putting out a first agenda with the understanding that there might be last-minute changes and adjustments, I understand that. Where I'm going with it, I guess I have a different perspective. I don't see it as disrespectful to department heads of saying 48. I mean, I do kind of like having at least 48 to read it. I'm in a similar, position where sometimes it's, during the day, I'm kind of my day job, and, you know, I have to put decks very similar to this together for that day job, and my bosses always require 48 hours. It's a really normal thing. You know, and I think if the expectation is there, you know, my goal is not to put an undue burden, but I think if there's an element of 48 hours for the initial agenda with the understanding that sometimes there are last minute changes, I don't see that as being an extreme request. That's just my perspective on it, but I'm also happy to hear if somebody has a different thought. It just provides a bit more time to read through the material.
Alderman Paulno?
Thank you. I'll just reiterate, because it keeps going back to, this is matching state statute. Well, the statute does say at least, so it gives us discretion. So that's what the statute said. So, and secondly, this, as to my knowledge, this is not a staff-driven thing. We've had 48 hours notice ever since I've been an elected official. So there's no disrespect intended or shown. I'm just saying we keep it as it is now. And I've never once heard a director or staff have any issues with a minimum of 48 days. That's never been conveyed in.
Hours, please don't say 48 days.
Sorry, apologize. 48 hours. I've never heard that uttered once. So.
I have, as being more involved in the day-to-day operations, but one of the points to also remember is that almost without exception, the agenda items that are coming to council have already been through committee, so you've seen them at the committee level. So I guess
But this changes
I
at
can see
committee
for
level.
changing it, you know, for a committee agenda, having it would be different for council versus committee. I could see there being some variation there. Council President Borchert.
Yeah, Clerk Nagel, how often are we on the 24th hour when agendas are submitted? Or can you give a speculation as to, is it 36? Is it up to the last minute? I know I'm not putting you on the spot here, but I just, I don't ever, I mean, there's a couple times we've done that. There's times where we've had meetings before the meeting. I mean, there seems to be quite a bit of flexibility. So if we did have that 48 hours, I don't think it precludes us from making an amendment to an agenda. I know it makes it a little bit more messy, but I also would like to hear from some of the department heads and their perspective, because it's the work they're doing that's coming forth. And I also agree with the mayor with the idea that, you know, we're getting this information in the committee ahead of time, and so you're already seeing this information. So it's very rare that something pops up at our city council meeting that's brand new. So really, in theory, because we rarely have much going on, it's usually about a whole week ahead of time, if I'm not mistaken, that we see this information before it comes to council. Sorry, that's a loaded question with a lot of angles.
Most, as the mayor had said, most of the committee or most of the council agenda items comes out of committee. It's very rare that we have even a new item or new business or old business in the agenda. It's very rare, and if that was the case, it would be an attachment. So that's one point. We try to get the agendas out on Friday. Sometimes if there's additional information that is required, we don't always have that information on Friday, so it comes out as soon as we can get it, as soon as we have it and can get it posted. Very rarely has it ever come down to 24 hours, unless there's a hot ticket item that needs to come to committee. Sometimes committee agendas, special committee meetings are within 24 hours, but that's very rare as well. So I think we understand and we respect the fact that this is not everybody's full-time job, especially the aldermen and the elected officials. And we do our best to get the information out as quickly as we can. Sometimes we can't. I know there was a time where it was mentioned under previous administrations that every time we amend an agenda, we should have a pay cut or some kind of monetary, because nobody wanted the public image of having amended agendas.
Right. Exactly.
So I think, you know, the staff and the department heads, I'm speaking on behalf of those, Jerry and Kelly and Dave can weigh in on that. But I think we respect the fact that we know that this is not your full-time job and that you have full-time jobs outside of here.
And Clerk Nagel, would this, would a 48-hour window complicate things and would lead us to amended agendas? Probably more so.
Yeah.
It could lead to amended agendas.
Thank you.
Alderman Weber.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I want to reiterate what Alderman Lindrum said. You know, we spent a lot of time discussing this and discussing the whole rules, and the intention is, as a Rules Committee, is to come back after this. So I don't know that we need to debate everything all at one time, you know what I mean? And I've not been an alderman forever, but in the time that I have been, I've never had an issue, and I work a day job too, never have had an issue not being able to be up to speed in time for a committee meeting or a council meeting. So I'm going to vote against the amendment because I think we need to just keep it as simple as possible. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment, which is to change the 24-hour rule to a 48-hour rule? Additional discussion? Alderman Bruno.
Yeah, last question is there a way to not having the 24 or the 48, but to have a kind of a consensual saying, we can try when we can to have the 48, when we are kind of sure that we wouldn't have any amendments, because as you said, it's generally speaking, it's already on commission, so we shouldn't have that much amendment neither. And when there is a risk to have one, because some topics are more complicated, then we have the ability to go back to the 24 hours. It's kind of win-win.
Is there any further discussion? So the amendment on the floor is to change from the 24-hour to 48-hour. And I guess if there is no further discussion, I would ask you to cast your vote on your voting device.
Oh,
That motion fails 6-3. So now we are back again to the council approval of the updated standing rules of the City of Neenah Common Council. And there's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Any additional discussion on that original motion? And again, that original motion has been amended to add the language relative to council president appointments. Seeing no further discussion, please cast your vote on your voting device.
thank you.
That motion passes 9-0.
And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. I hope you get over your laryngitis.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for you. Are there any petitions?
No petitions.
Are there any council directives? Is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
There's a motion and a second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Thanks, Dan.
The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenah.org. www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.